And since I've been here, um, my intention was also to come and actually speak about the good stuff finally, because there was actually quite a lot of good things. Meeting some old friends, meeting some new friends, or making some new friends, having some good time. Best part of it is like I've been experiencing like very consistent and baseline in itself baseline happy emotional states for like few weeks now, like more than 4 or 5 weeks, I guess. Really haven't felt any kind of anxiety, no sadness. Challenges were, of course, all over the place, some hungry days and stuff, but everything was really just freaking nice, very, very smooth. So, yeah, I sleep a lot. I'm active almost every day. Not like a lot. I mean, it's still taking me a lot to even feel physically strong enough to make some pull-ups or whatever, maybe more than 15 push-ups. But it's better than just two. uh, yeah, so I've been pretty enjoying it. Um, I must say, like, I don't know. Yeah, some people were, let's say, not mildly, but very annoying with regards to how they behave, and they don't really respect, peace and boundaries and stuff. But basically, with that in mind, I just chucked them off and figured, it's not my responsibility to be in the line of their fire, so I don't have to be. So that was cool. I was really happy with myself. Also, not really being taken for a ride by any of these kind of emotions by other people anymore. So that was good. But past week, so last week, the social services seemed like they've missed the memo and the point that I left them alone and I will leave them alone. That even if there's any kind of formality, such as like me contacting any complaints officers or ombudsmans and stuff, that I'm basically doing it only for the sake of, helping prevent any kind of future injustice to other people and things like that. So, all in all, being said, I said to myself and to them, you know, as long as you don't make mistakes and just do everything what you think you're supposed to do in the correct and lawful order, then I have really no problem with any of that. So it's fine. Yeah, I leave you alone. You do your job. I live my life. And when it comes to, I don't know, me being a co-parent and seeing the kids and stuff, of course, we're trying to communicate with my ex. Sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it doesn't. It's just the way things go. We are all still learning how to deal with all this, and it's fine. But at the end of the day, I know that kids want to see me. I definitely really want to see my kids, and I love them and all this kind of stuff. No one is a perfect parent. If anybody says, "What are you gonna do to be the best parent?" I can't tell you what I'm gonna do to be the best, but I can tell you what I'm gonna do to be a better parent today than I was yesterday. That's what I can definitely say. Yeah. Hey, thanks, viewers. Uh, who am I and where am I from? Oh, that's a bit much to ask. I mean, there's quite a bit explained on the description of my channel, and you can take some time to watch my other videos, but I do live in Netherlands, so that's pretty much it. But I'm not going to focus right now so much on the questions. I'm here to share my story about the fact that I found my self-love and inner peace after a long-term relationship that turned out to be mutually quite abusive and toxic between me and my ex-partner. There are 3 kids involved and stuff like that. So yeah, it wasn't good, it wasn't healthy, but as it turns out very often, unfortunately, in the modern society, men get ignored, forgotten, unheard, unseen, and because of that, also mistreated in very bad ways. So Hello, Cariat. So back to where I was last week. Out of about 5 to 6 weeks of internal peace and all this kind of experiencing a completely different perspective on life, like to feel free of not just external triggers, but also your own internal triggers and emotions that were stuck up. And um, yeah, what's going on here? I'm starting a life because I like things to be raw and unedited, and it helps me to just basically process what I have on my mind easily. Do I have a girlfriend? No. I had ex-partners and I have kids, and currently I'm a very happy single man by choice. I tried a little bit of dating, and it turned out to be funny, to say the least. Yoy, let me guess. Some of you are having OnlyFans profiles here. I won't buy. No, I don't need a girlfriend. Like I said, I'm happy, single by choice. Focusing on my own stuff again. So social services, about second or third time, decided to send some kind of an official letter to a very high level organization for child protection. And the stuff they wrote was outright bonkers. It was crazy. Like accusing me of potentially maybe kidnapping my kids. Then they got most of the dates wrong. They got most of the background story wrong, and all of this kind of stuff. And I warned them multiple times. Come on, people. Like I get it. Things were bad. We misunderstood each other. There were intense moments, emotional moments, and all of that. You didn't listen. Okay, fine. I didn't want to listen to you guys because there was a lot of professional misconduct and incompetence. Also good. That was fine. And now when they brought it back up again, I'm basically forced, even though I have zero money and no lawyers and no nothing, I'm forced to basically press any possible charge and go and fight for my rights and for my right to see my kids and for my kids to see their dad. So this is basically where we are. And if anyone was following me on this channel long enough, when they were doing this for the first time, I was pretty emotional about it and pissed off. So now it's a bit different. Now I'm just focused. And they kind of did not really think this one through this time. Because to their own reputation, and the fun part is like they managed to accuse the wrong people of saying things they never said. And that's the fun part, because then they're putting a lot more pressure on themselves with every statement, and then now a few days, well, almost a week later, following with, oh, we're sorry, we made a mistake. Too late, Judy. Too late to be apologizing for the mistakes I have called you out multiple times on before. But since you're not exactly my wife or girlfriend or something, and we cannot have these conversations forever because they actually affect my own life, financially, personally, and mental health and otherwise, message to you, Judy. Yeah, things that were previously thought of. They said I used derogatory statements and I was threatening them with violence and whatnot. No, those were threats that they need to stop being so unprofessional and so incompetent in order to avoid any further potential legal prosecutions if they continue to behave that way. So, we're gonna have to see who was wrong and where. I mean, yeah, I was pretty demanding. I was pretty defensive, as a parent should be, and as a person should be when they know that their rights are not respected, when they know that their health is in danger, and they know that their life is being put in danger. Because some people arrogantly think that because they have a job which gives them power and authority, that gives them an entitlement to be ignorant and not listen to you, and maybe even be as derogatory themselves as telling me that I'm not aware how abuse is affecting children. I spent my whole life dedicated to that subject so I could do as best as I can to my kids, and I still failed. I know that. But it's all about learning, isn't it? No one is born perfect and no one is ever going to be the best parent. Like, I mean, the logical fallacies of these people, that's the part that probably gets me triggered, because they don't understand neurodivergence. You try to beat us with senseless, pointless, and illegitimate actions, you're always going to get back with logic. Just louder one. So, literally, they've been torturing me with their senseless, bureaucratic bullshit for 4 years. And I said, fine, all I want to do is just rebuild my own life. Since I'm getting no help whatsoever, or whatever help I already got was not enough to pay the bills. And I needed I didn't know how long I'm gonna need to actually physically and mentally start recovering. Not to recover, but start recovering from everything I've been put through just in the past year and a half or so. And these babies, calling themselves social workers, now think they can actually dictate the life of me and my children, and even my ex-partner, who, of all issues that she's had, she's still surprising me with every step along the way she goes and the progress she's making. As far as I'm concerned, she's proven one thing to me, that she's a dedicated mother, and that's enough. And what concerns those people, all I wanted them to do is like to just, respect the law, respect the truth, respect the justice. If you couldn't do it before, then leave it. Fine, I get it. Now you've learned your lesson and move on. You can't, for the love of God, be a public service employee with power and authority to either improve and help someone live their life better, which is basically what social workers and all these experts and therapists should be doing, not keep them trapped in a goddamn loop and continuously ignore their own actual issues, whether it's their own or they have issues with others. And if those issues are very dangerous, then I think it's about time to act accordingly. We spent years doing nothing, chasing cat's tail around hot soup or something. I don't know how to translate the stuff that sometimes comes to my head from my own native language. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then also, when it comes to pretty much any European country, every time you're trying to do something, and if you're not really wealthy and if you don't have your own lawyers, you end up being bumped and shoved around by a bunch of institutions continuously saying, oh, we hear you, we're so sorry, you've been through this, we're gonna make a dossier, but that's all we can do. Well, if there's a person employed in the government and they're destroying people's lives, all you have to do is read the law, charge them with the crime, and move on. Employ someone else who is willing to learn and improve themselves so they can do their job better. Not someone who is continuously defensive and acting like a gestapo just because they can't admit their own mistakes and goddamn do their job well. Judy. So it's gonna get interesting, because whether I was so focused on my life now and doing the good stuff for myself, even, because that's how to be a good parent, is to fix your own shit and own your own shit. But since they decided they wouldn't even let me see kids when I want and how I want, I mean, not totally how I want. I have the boat, it's big enough, but because it's just not the best for kids to sleep in yet, I'm gonna take them to my boat when I have a better, cleaner boat. I have no problem with logic and reasoning. But in the meantime, I still want to see my kids as much as they need to see me. Not as much as others want to tell me what to do. And also, if I can't feel able to see them, or I don't feel mentally at the capacity to be there with them because I can't provide them that attention and level of energy that they require. These are three small kids. And because they don't see me on a daily basis, it's a lot more intense for them and for me. So after being, let's say, 3-4 days with them alone, I also need to rest because they drain me out. Even though I love them. It's just different. They need so much attention from me that I need to be like a complete master in shifting attention, divert attention, and all of that. So be a master father, psychologist, and whatnot, and pedagogue with 3 small children whenever I'm with them. It's exhausting. And it's not exhausting because they are difficult. It's exhausting for me because I'm different. Because I wasn't raised in a goddamn normal family where it's normal to be a child and normal to scream out of happiness and just be normal kid. Now the bloody social workers think they can blame me for every passionate act of love or passion I had to protect myself, or even the moments where it was just simply neurological trigger that I couldn't do anything with it. You can't control when do you feel angry and why do you feel angry. You can only control how much it's gonna take you over. And for me, I was always able to control that fully, except with one person. And I wish I could still explain why sometimes chemistry between two people is so intense that that it's so much more different. Not difficult, just more different to how your emotions express themselves in your physical body and all that stuff. But it's clearly why so different, because some people are just, I don't know, by default, not the right fit for us, and body is telling you already from the start to run. But because I wasn't aware that not every challenge and every fear is the one you need to face, some of them are just telling you this is danger. You don't need to be there. You don't need to be in that danger. So, because I used to be a bit of an adrenaline junkie, I did like the danger, but not every kind of danger. So that's kind of, I misled myself when it comes to relationships. That's fine. Everyone can be accountable. But it also takes, if I was in that relationship for 9 to 10 years, it also takes a lot of time to unwrap the whole thing and finally stop being emotionally wrapped into it and basically act like a lost little dickhead. Simple. And whether that goes for me or my ex, we both had our problems in communications. But when it comes to these people who are people who have like legal expertise at hand, and they should be using legal expertise, so like social workers and stuff, if they see that they have a complex, very, very complex case at hand, what are you doing writing papers all alone if you can't even sign yourself on the paper correctly? I don't care, maybe you're good in something else at social working, but at least you're working with a team of people. Get a team of people, get an advisor, get someone to review your letter before you send it, get someone to check all the documents if you've got your dates correctly, because at the end of the day, if you're going to accuse someone of, I don't know, maybe kidnapping their kids, or maybe that person threatened me, this is legal bloody matter, and it's serious accusations. And when you have no bloody evidence to support that serious accusation, I have every right in my name to protect my name, my reputation, my children, my family, my bloodline, and myself legally against things that are outright lie. Simple as that. And this is what I'm going to do with these people this time. No justice, no peace. They woke up a sleeping lion. And actually, I wasn't asleep. I was just enjoying my peace, really. Really got them enjoying it. And then, first day I was in shock. Second day, I felt very grateful, which I still am, for this silly mistake that they made. But you know, then you start to feel alone, then you start to feel again afraid of what they can do because you don't have enough of resources and everything to protect yourself. You still feel terrified, crying over a night, you fall back into a depression and all of these things. And yeah, now I have to again practice on a daily basis 10 times more to keep myself on my baseline of feeling good instead of me actually sending more CVs for the job. Now I have to spend a huge amount of energy on just feeling good, on just feeling like I belong, on just feeling like I don't want to escape anywhere. I want to stay here and fight for my rights, and I want to stay here and fight for my kids. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. I hope I find a really good lawyer that's gonna help me actually pay for my new boat out of their lying pockets with this one, because this is not just criminal justice, it's also civil matter of how much pain they caused me over the years and just in this week. Anyway. If it wasn't a bloody full-on raining day today, I wouldn't make this video. But it's about, I also promised them that if they're gonna keep poking at me, I'm gonna go public. Not with names, of course, not with exact locations, not with exact data, because I do respect everyone's privacy. But my life, my story, my feelings, and all of that kind of shit will not go invalidated anymore, ignored, unrecognized, unseen. And with that, God knows how many other women and men tortured this way because some bureaucratic ass with a book and a pen stuck up their nose cannot really find compassion in their job, where they're employed to be compassionate and they're employed to listen and they're employed to help. So my final message for all these people is like, if you really don't want to help, and if you can't help, get out of the fucking way. That's me as brutally unhinged lately as I can be. I used to be much worse than this, but there. It's my life at stake, my whole life. And I worked hard a lot in the past to get somewhere and eventually also fix my problems, yes. But what did I know? That fixing the problems actually comes first or along with everything. I was more, I need to pay the bills, I need to pay the rent, I need to pay for our food for the kids and all this kind of stuff. I need to work hard. Eventually, we need to buy the house. All of these things mattered to me first before I could realize that my own mental health was actually way more important. Way more. Message is held for review. Am I Russian? No. I'm Yugoslavian. I'm from Slovenia and I was born in what used to be called Yugoslavia. So Yugoslavian Federation. It was 6 countries: Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. We were not a part of Russian Federation or otherwise. Even though we had socialism, so to speak, it had nothing much to do with Russia. So, to clarify that. And even if I was Russian, the way I am, the way who I am, the way I live, I don't pick sides in the war. Both sides are deluded and making the filthy rich richer on behalf of fighting each other, and they don't even know why. It's both sides are victims of their own generational traumas and refusing to step out of that victim role and continuously living on their own delusions of rage and hate and all that stuff. Period. Same goes for any other fights and religious or otherwise ideological conflicts. Slovenia is in the euro, yeah. So at least for what I know, we've had the euro as a currency since 2007, and it's not been good since. Not at all. That's why I'm not there for many years already. Same people that used to be in power even before are still in power, just they changed their colors around, but you know, because they're in power, they pretty much can do whatever they want, or at least they think so. For now, they keep milking the cash cow. That's it. Eventually, it will all come to light. Every truth, everything always comes to light. Never mind how many thousands of years they were trying to hide who they are and what they are. It doesn't matter. It always comes to light. I'm not worried anymore. There's a lot of good people around, a lot of good changes, a lot of positive impact everywhere. And even people like me who have been previously pushed down to the ground and even lost lives for the stories like mine, well, not me. I don't get easily killed and I don't really give up. And I promised Judy and the social services from a specific place, if you poke at me again, you're not poking at one man, you're poking at an army and a legion of human people who have been through similar things. And when I wake up a lot of people together with me. And guess what? Yes, it's happening. Just my story makes people cry and it helps them, which means they're gonna get healed, they're gonna believe in themselves, they're gonna be themselves, they're gonna be free, without you motherfuckers pointing at them and giving them directions how to live their life and shutting their mouth with censorship, masks, and whatever you want. No more, bye. Simple as that. Do I watch football? I don't. One of the sports I kind of never really like. I liked football, but I never really loved it. There you go. So, no, I don't. Lately, I don't watch stuff. Mainly, like as in sports, entertainment, and media. If it's not something I can find meaningful and deeper and learning from it, I don't really watch it, to be honest. So, no, I'm sorry if I disappoint all the sports fans here. I like sports, but Slovenia's playing on Sunday. Look, if it's gonna be raining and the coffee shop where I go to, they like football, maybe I'm gonna watch a little bit. That's pretty much how I can say. Sometimes I watch it, sometimes, like, but this is really, you're gonna catch me watching it once every 10 years in a company of people that I like. So I'm not against football, but it's not just something that you would normally find me in. You're much better off dragging me to a live jazz concert or something like that. I like music, art, socializing with people, meaningful conversations and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and I definitely love sailing with my boat when the weather's right and stuff is working on it. At the moment, I have a problem with the gearbox again. How many languages do I speak? Yeah, well, I would say effectively I speak Slovenian. Clearly, English is, I think, and I speak in English all the time. So Slovenian as my native language is now pushed to the secondary part. Then, because of Slovenian, I also speak fluently languages: Croatian, Bosnian, and Serbian, and like some other Balkan languages. It's just purely because those are much easier to learn on the basis of how they write and speak. But I would say this is all like a family of Yugoslavian languages. And then I speak a tiny bit of Dutch. I understand quite a bit more. So listening Dutch and stuff, I understand a lot more. I used to speak very good German, but because I don't use it on a daily basis, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. But yeah, generally with languages, it's like this. I recognize almost every language. Like I know the difference between Korean, Japanese, Thai, and all this kind of stuff. So I'm really good with recognizing languages and learning, picking up on a language and nuances in the languages really fast. So yeah. When I was in Spain and in a precarious situation with my ex-partner, I was able to talk to the police who spoke 0 words in English. I was able to speak to them in my broken Spanish, which I basically don't speak at all. So there you go. Kind of weird question. I mean, tough question to answer in properly quantified measure. I would say I'm a talented but a very lazy linguist. Yeah, I live on my boat, yes. And I after now it's a good, yeah, about a year of living on 3 different sizes of boats. I would say that I really don't want to go back into bricks and flats because it's so much better. You know, like you get fed up with your living room, you start the engine. If you have sails, you bring up the sails and you change your living room for a while. It's just really nice, and yeah, the serenity and the views and all this stuff. Even I'm in the same spot, but I have such beautiful. For now, I'm in the same spot for a while. At least when it comes to mooring, thanks God, because safety is important with that. I have beautiful sunsets whenever they are there, and it's just like yeah, that's another kind of self therapy part, just to just enjoy the little things. I don't travel a lot, but yeah, because you know diesel's expensive. I don't have the sails, so the mast is broken. Um, I do as much as I can, but every time I do, I find something going a bit wrong. It's an old boat, so I'd have to invest quite a lot of time and money to repair it, which I have a lot of time, and that's what I have for the time being. I've sent a bunch of CV. I'm doing ever since I started feeling really more back to myself and really just self-loving. I started really living a more proactive life and like, oh yeah, let's do something about life again and not really return back to my old career, but there's a lot of useful knowledge and skills from it that I can do something with. But I'm at the age and a long career break, which makes me very hard employable material. How expensive? Yeah, well, that depends on the size of your boat and your own expectations. But I would say that the basic cost of living now it depends. Do you live on the inland waters or do you actually want to sail around the ocean? But I would still say for both, anywhere between 1,000 to 2,500 US dollars or euros per month. Now that the currencies are pretty close. But that's like inclusive food expenses for whatever goes on the boat, like diesel, heating systems and stuff. Like it can go very low if you have a boat that you can make your own fresh water, so that you have water makers, that you have as that you have a really well isolated boat. So for example, my boat was really expensive in the winter on certain electrical plugs where electricity was way more expensive than it should normally be for the commercial purpose. So it's really like very different depending on what boat you have, how the boat's being built and heated and all of that stuff. So modern boats and not too big sizes should be like really cheap to live pretty much anywhere. Like when you can have, if you can take care of the self-sufficiency for the most part, then it's like depending from a harbor to a harbor, from €1 to up to 2.5 euros per meter per night. And you can stay there for up to 14 days. And this is the expensive variation of it. Then you have less expensive ones where you can have memberships in the harbors or clubs and stuff, which does sometimes and somewhere take longer time to get them, but you just keep applying and you will eventually get around. Then that reduces your passenger fees, or you can actually have a mooring for a boat which would cost you like either a few hundred euros per year up to a few thousand euros per year. But that's basically your rent, so to speak. Comparing to the rents in Amsterdam here, if I go for the most expensive marina right now, if I could go, most expensive marina with my boat, where I would have all the facilities I need, it would be 4,000 euros per year, which would still be less than me paying, well, just about 2 months rent for the most expensive house rent I was paying. Given that, boats, if you get lucky, are not so expensive. If you know what to do and fix stuff, you will save yourself a lot of money on maintenance and repairs. It's a really affordable life. I mean, it's a lot to do. There's always something to do. You get busy, but for someone like me with a lot of ADHD traits, it's freaking good to be busy. And whenever it's not, you have a rainy day like this. What, you read a book, you do something. I mean, it's really just, it's almost like flat, but a lot cheaper and way more freedom. So, yeah. Is it really expensive to live on a boat? Hell no. If I knew before, when I had ton of money in my pockets, I would definitely be buying boats and investing in that. So, what's the biggest challenge? I think for me it was definitely the winter and the cold. So, disregarding, like, because for half of this boat lifestyle, I was living on a boat in a canal, dead engine, very exposed because it was not a safe harbor, which at least would have a fence or something. So the challenge was definitely the fact that I was almost killed by a drugged up Polish junkie. So yeah, definitely safety. I would say, especially if you're gonna, let's say, sail the oceans around the world, I'd say personal safety when it comes to potential pirating and stuff like that, or just if you're not careful enough, you can be knocked off board, and if you're alone on the board, well, I hope you know how to prevent that from happening. So yeah, safety is definitely always the biggest challenge, because at the end of the day, you have a floating home on water. So if anything goes wrong, I don't know, maybe something happens to the plugs on the boats or whatever, or the the drainage systems and stuff, and you gotta be prepared to grab the stuff that is just urgent for you and get off the fucking boat, and probably you're gonna lose a lot of belongings. So yeah, like, I think that's the biggest challenge, is just overall a risk of personal safety and items and stuff at any stage. Hey, Tuan. Yeah, I'm doing fine, buddy. But the legal issues, I don't know how far these people want to go. When they try to accuse me of maybe even thinking about kidnapping my kids, I think we're done. We're done with fucking peace and jokes. Yeah, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to expose them and stop them from being such ridiculous, immature, unprofessional, one-sided, whatever. Like, then I have more bad things to say. These are more the objective ones, and just monkeys. Yeah, they need to be aware that I don't want them. I don't want anything because of my personal reasons, but because they're really doing their job in a way that makes everyone's life extremely difficult for totally unnecessary reasons. So yeah, we'll see how it's gonna go. Hard to find lawyers, hard to find people who actually want to take up the case, even if it's just for one single thing, like criminal charge, that. So you gotta go. Okay, well, thanks for dropping by, and have a good day. So yeah, I don't know, in terms of boating life, if there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer. But yeah, I think I've been pretty extensive. It's good to have, let's say, the one thing to say about boating life, it's good to have more money for a boat where everything functions and works off the bat. So it doesn't have to be new, even if it's second hand. It's really good to have enough money to have everything working, so that whatever it is, you're later just looking after the boat. Buying really cheap boats can be a huge issue. So I would always advise people to really educate themselves well on the subject of purchasing the boat and all this kind of stuff, how to inspect the hulls and all this shit, because otherwise, yeah, it could it could stress you out beyond necessary levels. But okay, for me it was necessity. I had what I had. I had very little money, so. And at the end of the day, I'm a bit of an engineer and definitely a survivalist, so that wasn't that big of an issue. It was just, let's say, a couple of times me and my boat had some arguments and loud conversations. But that's mainly, and then on the other hand, when things got a little bit scary with the weather itself, it's exactly the boat itself that saved things from the worst being as big and as hefty as it is. So so good. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go soon because I'm expecting some guests, and then yeah, we will see. I want to actually focus on more like positive subjects finally on YouTube and stuff because I've really found so many good things about life and just generally what can help and what doesn't help, and I want to share that with people. Also, I was like out in a few events and stuff, just talking a little bit. I prevented maybe a bit of a drunken or drugged up fight between a chick and a guy, and you know, told him off a bit. But the way I managed the whole situation impressed another dude, and we had a conversation. I was just talking a bit about myself, but that touched him so much that basically he said, among more than a few people recently, that it does really help them. The stuff that I share and I speak about, it really helps them to gain a new perspective about their own issues and about their own life, and also that I am quite full of very positive solutions for all this. So I think I'm gonna focus my life a little bit on that, and then also I decided I'm gonna change one of my websites, their concept and the purpose of it, where I was thinking a little bit too big maybe for the beginning, like too many things at once. So the geafamily.org will change into a bit like a space exactly for not for me to just broadcast some of these kind of things, but also to, in the long run, to provide an alternative to outdated, slow, and for the large part inefficient medical public therapies and all this kind of stuff. So there's going to be a lot of ways to help yourself, heal yourself, find yourself, free yourself, supported with hardcore science and not the science club that tells you to jab yourself, take the pills, and just be obedient. But the kind of science that wants you to be happy, wants you to be free, wants you to be yourself, and wants you to be not dependent on any drug or any medicine. And that's how it goes. When you can grow physically, mentally, and spiritually without depending on anything, on anyone, unless you like it and it does really work for you. So that's how things go. And that's what I'm going to focus on that page and start developing that part, because I think it's really important to start breaking down the old school psychology and psychotherapy and all this stuff, which takes literally, as I saw one of the videos today, thousands and thousands of hours for an individual, only to find out that, first of all, they're doing all the inner work themselves, and second of all, there wasn't actually much to do. It's already all there inside. And there are not many secrets and not many wisdoms and methods to actually achieve that. It's just about finding perspective and finding it fast enough so that as soon as you do, you plant the seed and you can start changing your patterns and your rigidness with very efficient and very pragmatic actions and stuff that helps a lot. So it's gonna get interesting. But first, I got myself some words to win. Judy, thanks for lying. Thanks for those letters. And colleagues, from that specific social service. We were nice to each other. We all understood that this is not the way to go. It was your responsibility to tell your colleague. Damir told us what and how it can follow if we continue to behave like this and treat him this way. Oh, but they also had a team lead and they also have a legal advisor. All these people think, or at least in the past, they had thought that I'm a fool. Maybe I acted a bit foolish. I was very exhausted and out of myself. But they haven't seen me in a business suit, have they? And dead serious in everything I say, think, feel, and do. I know I don't feel sorry for them. And no mercy. I told them already. They can pray to God for their forgiveness. I'm gonna forgive them when they buy me, when they pay for my new big boat. Ciao, everyone. Peace.